Hey everyone, Paul out Sam. Welcome to part 3 of our AMT 125th Dodge Super B video build. We're going to get this done today. We've got the interior to do and then put everything else together, including polishing the body, getting the glass in, oh god, and getting it all finished and ready for showing you all. So, let's get straight in. I'm not going to put let's get cracking because I put a picture of my mate getting up showing his bum the other day. Just bear in mind, any pictures in here, I'll probably put in here. Just think about the jokes I do. So yeah, let's get cracking with the build and let's get on with it. Hey everyone, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications, get notified of our latest videos, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and leave a comment. I do read and appreciate every comment you guys and girls leave behind. I may not reply to them all, but they are all appreciated. And there's a link in the description of the video that takes you to a big long list of all handy videos and a lot of the products I use in my videos. You now have the chance to support the video content creation by using Patreon or the PayPal me link in the description down below. All the videos will always remain free to watch. This is just your chance to help support the videos. Hey, just for a change, at the start of one of my videos, we're cleaning parts up. I mean, we never do this, do we? Ever. So, as always, parts need to be cleaned. Not many for the interior on this. It's very, very simple interior. There's literally about 5 or 6 parts for it. Pretty simple cleanup. The wheels. The seats are probably the most difficult part. They're quite seam intensive, and there's a few bits of trim off the dashboard as well. But using a variety of UMP sanders, not a problem at all. Just clean them all up. We're going for a black on black interior on this. Pretty simple. So I was going to flock the floor, but if you know, Hannah does my flocking for me in the house, away from my cave, so I don't get any strands of flock in future clear coats. And she wasn't feeling very well this night, so I thought I'd do it. So in the cave, I opted to use embossing powder. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Everything's cleaned up. Quick test for the dashboard and the steering wheel. And then we're in the spray booth. We've got some Mr. Surface of 1500 black, thin Mr. Hobby level and thin, about 60%. We've got our UMP Apex 0.35 needle, 18 psi. And we're putting down a couple of coats. This is our second coat of primer going down. Build it up slowly. Just take your time. Really nice colour. Nice primer, lays down super smooth. You don't need to worry about hosing it on. It still self-levels and dries perfectly. But I always like to do nice thin coats. And it's case doing the floor, or the interior, the seats, the dashboard, and the steering wheel. We've got a couple of chrome bits off camera as well, which we'll deal with later. But like I said, a couple of coats of this, let it dry overnight, and come back the next day and put some LP5 down. So, like I said, going black on black. So we'll have a vinylish colour on the seat, so a glossy black, hence the reason for moving over now to Tamiya LP5. So this is thinned about 60% with Tamiya lacquer thinner with retarder, with again the 0.35 Apex, 18 psi. And we're going to put 3 coats down of this. We'll put one lighter one down to begin with, onto the second one, which is this one, which is a little bit wetter, and the third one we'll put on a little bit wetter still. And it'll just give us a nice semi-gloss look to the paint and make it look like vinyl. That's my thought anyway, and it turned out quite well in the end. So like I say, very basic interior. So a bit of a shame that really there was loads of parts for the engine and drivetrain and just absolutely nothing for the interior. So there we go, there's that third coat going down, nice and wet now, as you can see. And we just need to get the front seats, the side panels, door cards, and that transmission tunnel small piece as well. That's been drying overnight again, and we're here now. We've got some Revell matte black enamel paint, and we're going to put down a nice even coat of this everywhere we want the embossing powder to go. So basically everywhere that will be carpeted. So we just go around, quite generous with it. We don't want to flood. If you do flood it, dry the brush off, go back up, pick up the excess, and then come back and yeah, just brush over it. You just want a nice solid wet look. You don't want it too wet. You don't want it clumped in corners, or the embossing powder would do exactly the same. You just want it to be a nice even coat. This stuff is tacky as hell, so it will stick. So once we've covered it all, we get our embossing powder. I'm just going to tip it on. No need to sieve this or put it in the tea strainer. We're just going to pop this on. I think the flocking looks a lot better. But I refuse point blank to use flocking in my cave now. After finding flocking in clear coats, it's not going to happen. Never again, which is why Hannah normally does it. I'm away from it. I don't get it on me. But obviously tonight needs must, so we use the embossing powder. Doesn't look too bad, to be fair. So yes, happy with that. So all it is, tip it in, tap it, make sure it gets in all the recesses and everywhere you want it. I like to give it a little pat down with a finger, then tip away the excess, like so. You put it back in the jar if you can, and then have a look. Pretty good coverage there, not too bad at all. So what we'll do is just put another little bit more in. Looks good though, yeah, not too bad. The flocking does look better, but the embossing powder doesn't look too bad at all. You may see a little bit of gloss where the enamel is. Once that dries, that should vanish. But if you're happy, just put another piece in, pat it down where you think it needs it. Only gently, don't need to be rough. And then tap away the excess, like so. Give it a good tap. And there we are. Now put that to one side to dry. Usually overnight, enamel does take quite a while to dry. But the embossing powder only tends to go where you've painted, so it's a good way of figuring it out. Dashboard on this, completely plain and boring. Not even any instrument dials at all. You can't really see it once it's in. I've test fitted it already. So I thought what I'll do is I'll lightly dry brush the front of it with some grey paint. Just add a little bit of detail to it. Not that you can really see it, but it makes it look a little less boring and a little less bland in the car. So dry brushing, you load up your brush, take off most of the paint, and very lightly rub over. Now we've got a centre console that's chrome, and what I've done is I've hand painted the centres in AK light wood, let that dry, and I've got some of the Usi van der Rosten wood decals. I'm just going to put it on the centre tray like so. As you can see, we've got the two top pieces in place. Hit them with our decal solutions, and then we can get the bottom piece done as well. Let those dry. Once you're happy, get a little bit of CA glue, pop it in place. Again, adds a little bit of detail to an otherwise boring interior. The gear shifter in. Now, I know these have a name. I can never think for the life of me the name of these gear shifters. It's a funny looking thing with a handle on the top. I know the name. It's completely escaped me. So if you know, post in the comments down below. There it is there. Is it something like power shift or something? It's something weird like that. I can never remember what it is at all. And then the seats, little bit of CA glue down each side. And just glue them in place. Like I say, really, really simple interior. It's a shame because the rest of it was really detailed and the interior is really simple. Real shame. Steering wheel sits a bit low for my liking as well. I think it would foul the driver's legs if it was a real car. But I guess, hey, it is what it is. And there we go. And then the other seat in place as well. And there we are. Now, little tip. If you ever do CA glue things like this, don't put them in any enclosed area like a box because it will haze up everywhere. And then a little bit of a look. You see the nice shine on the seats, the matte of the carpet. So, yeah, not the most prettiest or interesting interiors, black on black, but it's a classic interior colour. And it's not that much to show off in there anyway, really. So, I guess it kind of hides a necessary, not evil, but it is what it is. Now, our clear coat's been drying for a number of weeks now. We do have some rubbish in it. We've got some dust and what have you. We do have a couple of sink marks on the back. There's nothing we can do about that now. So, honestly, I'm not that worried about it at all. What we're going to do, we're going to flat all the paint and polish it all back up to a high shine. We've got a nice clear coat on this. It's not too thick. I used a 0.2mm needle. We cleared it in Gravity Spain 2K clear. We just need to get some dust spots out. So I've got 8,000 and 12,000 micro mesh. We've got some fresh water. I'm just going to go around and take all the paint back with the 8,000, wipe it off, dry it, and then go around again with the 12,000 and repeat if necessary. Obviously, be very careful on parts like this. We've got raised or recessed edges that you don't take the paint off. Paint on any corners or edges is very, very thin and it's unbelievably easy to burn through. So don't put any pressure on those parts. Just let your fingers glide over them lightly. Keep using fresh water. Make sure you keep it clean. And again, on the bonnet, again, we've got sink marks. Real shame. Somebody said something about this. I filled the edges in but didn't do the top or wherever it was. And yeah, whatever. Yada, yada, yada. I was told to fill it. I did. Sadly, you can still see it through the top. I'm not really all that bothered. It's just one of those. It's an AMT kit. It's not a Tamiya £80 kit. That'd be really heavy if it was. So yeah, there's going to be some flaws on the kit. I just like the subject. I like the colour and I'm happy. Again, sand all the scoops, all the bonnet, all the body. And once we're done there, we come with our Ultima polish system. So you can get the compound, you get the polish, the wax, and the spray wax as well. And we're going to start with the compound, which is basically a more aggressive polish. We're going to apply some to a nice clean cotton cloth. There we go. All t-shirts are great for this. Going to get a generous amount of our Going Mad. And then using circular motions, we're going to polish all the body. Again, be careful of razor surfaces or edges. It's unbelievably easy to burn through. Trust me, you'll do it once and you'll be forever shy of doing it. So just take your time. Don't apply loads of pressure with the cloth. Just keep going around the compound till you're happy. And then dry it to slight haze and you can buff it off. And you'll see the difference it makes. Just from using the compound, when we're done, we get a real nice high shine off it. But it's a case of systematically going all around all the vehicle, getting every little part flatted and then polished back up. So there's a process, and obviously I'm not going to run through the whole thing because there's about 2 hours worth of work here. We're trying to cram into a 40-minute video, so yeah, we're going to take our time with this one. And there we go. We're just going to show the roof. So once the roof's done, we give it a good polish up with the compound. Come with another clean piece of cloth and give it a nice high shine buff up like so. So just take your time, don't apply loads of pressure. All you're going to do is damage parts. As you can see there, even just off the compound, we've got a beautiful shine already. The 2K is definitely working better with the thinner, with the smaller needle nozzle, not getting as much down, so it's a bit thinner, which makes it easier to polish at the end. Once from the compound, you go all around the car and then we come back in with the polish and do exactly the same around every square inch of this car, the bonnet, the vents, scoops. And again, we do exactly the same with the polish. Give it a good buff up. Now the polish is less abrasive and a little bit thinner, so you can go a little bit harder with this one. But just be aware, you've only got an infinite amount of clear coat before you burn through. So rather than ruin all your hard work, you have to judge what's worth pushing and what's not. And quite often, there's flaws in the roof of this. There's a little dust spot, and I could have pushed and pushed it and pushed it, but I'd rather have a little tiny dust spot than either a completely ruined 2K or have to strip and start again. So this is where you got to ask yourself, where does your perfection stop? And for me, I can put up with a little tiny mark in the roof. As you can see, another clean cloth, or turn the cloth around so you've got a clean edge. We've got a beautiful, highly polished, nice smooth roof now. And again, repeat that all over the body, all over the vents, all over the bonnet, until everything is polished up. Absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely colour this. It looks absolutely amazing clear coated. Now, you may well remember the bare metal foil farce of part 1. I can safely say after this, we'll never use bare metal foil again. So I've done this method before. So we've got a 2K clear coat, which is really nice and smooth. I sprayed metallics over it before, got a really good finish. I think it was AK Extreme I used first time I did it. Worked really well, but I always tried to stick with the bare metal foil because number one, I quite enjoy putting it on, and number two, it looked good. But today, going on, Alan, Mr. Parker, who I'm forever giving props to in here, aren't I? Did a fire truck recently and used the Mr. Hobby Super Metallic Super Chrome on it. And I thought, you know what, I haven't used that one as a window trim, so let's give it a go today. So we're going to mask it up. Very boring, took absolutely forever. We're going to mask all the windows up, and then we're going to mask off the side marker light as well. So a good hour and a half, 2 hours work here. Took me an absolute eternity masking all this up. I had about 3 hours footage of me just doing this alone, from the paint to the finish. And it's just going around and slowly masking all the windows up, all the door handles, and all those side marker lights as well. So a bit labour intensive, but there we go. There's a last piece going on, thank God. Used a lot of tape. Make sure you detack every piece of tape you put on, because you do run the risk of pulling your paint off or decals. Once you're happy, go around, burnish it all down with your fingers and make sure it is all fully, properly burnished down. There we go, the front vents as well. I've got a little chrome lip, so they've both been done as well and masked off, ready for paint. So we're in the spray booth. We've got Mr. Hobby Super Metallic Super Chrome 2 with thinness about 50% with Mr. Hobby Leveling Thinner. Hard to pick which thinner to use on this because I want it to dry quick, but I don't want to lose the shine. So I don't know what the Mr. Hobby Rapid Thinner would do to this, but we've got a 0.2mm apex, 18 psi. I'm just going to go around and put several ever so light coats on. As you can see, the colour is beautiful. We will never burn metal foil again. I can't see any reason to do it. This works so well. The only downside is there's two. Number one, it takes forever to mask, but then it takes forever to burn metal foil as well. And the chrome will rub off if you're a little bit rough. So bear that in mind, definitely. And I would definitely leave it to dry for a day before you start mucking around with it, because I didn't, and I did lose a little bit. I had to remask and respray. But just go around, nice thin coats, just build it up nice and slow. Getting all the wheel arches, all the windows, the door handles, the side markers, the lot. And there we go, that's that done. Absolutely beautiful finish. Over the 2K, because it's so smooth, it leaves a beautiful glossy finish behind. So it looks really, really good. You can see our body's slightly warped. I did straighten it up at the very beginning, but it's kind of gone back into its shape. And as we'll find in a bit, the body chassis is a little bit warped as well in the opposite way, which makes life a bit more difficult. Now, we've unmasked it all. It takes about 2 minutes to unmask, 2 hours to mask. Leaves residue behind a little bit, so it's got a clean cloth and it's going to go around and buff all the paint back up. Be very careful of the chrome parts because the cloth will take it back off. The shine on this is absolutely beautiful. Very happy with the paint job on this. There's a few sink marks here and there, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Not every model can be perfect, and none of mine certainly are. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's all about enjoying the hobby more than anything. And there we go. So all cleaned up, all chromed, arches, the lights, the windows, looking really good. Really, really nice chrome colour. Back window, looking really good. Very, very sharp paint. And like I say, I don't think we'll bare metal foil anymore. I think this will be our way of doing it in the future. Now, what I do need to try is how the Super Hobby reacts under 2K, i.e. can I do this first? That'll be interesting to see because it will probably dull it. Now, with those side markers, we've got yellow on the front and red on the back. We need to mask up the centres of those and spray them yellow at the front, red on the back. So, again, a little bit of masking later on and we're done. And we're in our spray booth. We've got some Tamiya LP clear orange and clear red. And we're going to put several very light thin coats down. Now, I didn't mask up the entire body here, and I should have because I did get a little bit of overspray. I had to repolish out. So if you're going to do this, put the masking a bit further on, rather than being kind of lazy and thinking I'll get away with this. So I had no paint, but you could definitely see a demarcation line where the tape had been, and there was a little bit of overspray. But a quick go over of our polish. Took it off, lickety split. No problems at all. Like I said, a couple of coats of each of these paints, job done. Now, the kit chrome, didn't know what to do on this. I didn't know to strip it, leave it completely chrome or what, but either way, this centre section needed to paint in black. So I used some Vallejo model colour black, brush painted it, wiped off any excess. While we're just waiting for that to dry, we're going to stick our bonnet vent on. So we've got some Bob Smith Industries odorless CA glue. I'm just going to pop our little vents in, like so. They're tricky to line up, but once you get them in, they're quite a positive fit. And then same for the other side, and there we go. There's both of those done. And then we're in the spray booth, and what I decided to do is use Mr. Hobby Semi-Gloss Clear. And we're going to go over it and just semi-matte all the chrome. And it just takes that toy-like look away, just dulls it down to near enough an exact finish, just like the windows that we just did. So just a couple of light coats, but to be honest, it's probably like one light coat because by the time you come back, it's near enough dry. My cave is hot, you know, it's 24, 25 degrees near quite regularly. Everything does dry super fast. These are lacquer, and yeah, what a difference it makes to the chrome. Just gets rid of that horrible, over shiny, toy-like look and just leaves a nice chrome effect behind. Look really good. So again, we'll put those to one side to dry for a bit. We can fit them a little bit later on. Now the glass. Now this kit has gone so well, all the way up to about this point, really. The glass, the rear screen fitted well. The front one, not so much at all. We need to trim a little bit off the front. Doing a quick test fit, and it's going to need some manipulation and a bit of persuasion to get it in place. So a little bit annoying. The instructions call out for cutting. You can see it just ahead of my index finger. 1/16 of an inch, which we worked out to be 1.6 millimeters or so. So just looking at it by eye and getting the front part in. No easy way to hold this, unfortunately, so I just opted to do it this way. So a light cut at the front, just really take our time. Don't apply any lateral pressure, just let the saw do its work. And at the back, we line it up. Don't apply low pressure with that razor saw, you will cause damage, you'll break the glass. Just let it lightly cut through it. Not a lot of pressure, it'll take a while, but once you're through, you can take it off. Nice and gentle. Then I grabbed a 400 grit thinny stick, UMP one, and just tidied up the edges and then repeated that on the other side. So take your time here. It's not difficult at all. Just takes a bit of careful modelling, basic modelling skills really, and you can soon get rid of that little L shape that needs taking off. So like I say, the glass isn't the best fit, so we can't use UV glue, so we're going to have to use CA, which ended up leaving a little bit of a mark on the glass where the kicker travelled through. Looks like a little watermark on the glass, which I tried to polish out, had no luck. But this is the least of our worries because things get really terrible in a little bit. Quite disheartening this, because like I said, the kit's gone really well all the way through the build, and then it just lets itself down right at the end. So we put a little bit of CA glue down, we hit it with the kicker. Right at that point there, I just put a little bit too much kicker on, and it's capillary through the screen and gone up the front and left like a little watermark on the front. It is what it is. I tried to polish it out and had no chance. And then we move on to the top, same procedure, glue it in place, hit it with the kicker, and that's it, pretty much glued in place. It does need a bit of manipulation, it's not the best fit either. The back one, we UV glued, and this is a terrible fit. There's a gap at the bottom. It really is not a nice fit at all. And then our cockpit, I keep calling these cockpits, our interior, goes over these two marks, which is what caused our sink marks. And then it just rests on the front, doesn't need attaching at all. We're just checking everything fits, the screen fits, nothing fouls. And then we're just going to quickly test fit the body, and this is where the problems really start. So the body's quite a tight fit, it is. I'm a bit off camera, I need to adjust my camera angles. I figured this out today. I need to be a little bit further down and a little bit further zoomed in. And that's what we're going to be from now on. A quick test fit of the body does not bode well. The body is warped one way, the chassis is warped the other. So, awesome. Just what we need. While I'm here, I thought I'll paint these inner arches. I forgot to do it before. So, a quick bit of Vallejo model colour black on a brush. Just give it a quick, swift brush over. No problem at all. But yeah, lining the front, the sides up. The front one side rides high, the back one side rides low, and it's just ridiculous. The warpage is pretty terrible, but we kind of sorted out with a bit of manipulation. You'll see it in a bit. Now, each one of these wheels, they sat in way too far on the arches, so I've made little spaces for them using some styrene rod, which fits into the wheel perfectly. Just checking the width that I need, and then cutting it to a length. Taking it out, drilling through it with a 3.5mm drill bit, I think it is, until we're cleaning through. Then get my reamer. Now, somebody asked about the link to this. I don't have a link to this tool, just any generic reamer will do. And we're reaming out the end to widen it, and this will fit into the wheel. Then that will fit over the hub, and hopefully save a bit of drama. A quick test fit there, and it fits on not too bad. Like so. So just give it a little bit more. So I've done this on the other three wheels. They all fit spot on. We've got the stance pretty much perfect, and we're near enough get the end of it good. So yeah, we push it into the wheel. Little dab of CA glue in there, hold that into the wheel, and then this will hold it onto the hub. So it's a little bit of a dodgy fit, but it does work. It's a bit of a stupid setup, to be honest, because even if you don't use the wheel, if you use just the wheels as they should be, they still don't fit the hub at all. They're very loose. Now, I've got the front lined up. One side is a little bit higher than the other. That's just the way it's going to be, unfortunately. I can't adjust it at all. I've had a look. The back, I've got a little bit of adjustment on. Now, all these cars seem to sit low on the back and high on the front. I don't like that look at all. So what I've done is I've made it so it sits pretty equal. Now, one problem with this kit is you need to push all the chassis back, although the wheels are too far forward in the wheel well. So I've pushed it back, I'm holding it, I've hit it with some CA glue, a little bit of kicker, and that'll hold it so the wheels sit right in the arches. We've got the stance pretty much spot on. They are perfectly positioned in the arches on width now. They're just at the edge, which is just how I wanted it. The biggest problem is the warpage in the chassis. It's huge, and it's completely opposite way to the body. So they're kind of doubling or making the problem twice as bad. But a little bit of manipulation here, as you can see how much I can move this. And I'm just looking at it so the wheel is just in the arch. You can see how bad it is, how different it is. And then we'll grab the other side and do exactly the same with this. Let's have a look how that sits. Now, it did sit near enough straight. So with that in mind, I bung a little bit of CA glue down the back. That'll hold it. And then I'm going to do something now you should never ever do. I'm going to spray kicker inside the body. You should never do this because it's not nice stuff and it can react with the 2K, but I was confident I could get it in, and I did, and I just left that then to dry. Now, the grills, we've got the rear plate on, the rear light surrounds on, the lower bumpers on at the back, just stay glued in place. The front, I decided to use UV glue because it's a bit of a pig to do. It doesn't fit at all. The top of it does not line up. Like I said, it's where the problem started, and it started to become really disheartening. If you're watching a live stream this morning, you would have heard me talking about it. It fits in place, but it sits too low at the top, and it doesn't cover the top of the front fenders. Which is a real shame. You'll also notice the intake manifold, carburetors, and air filter are gone because the bonnet doesn't shut with them in. So I've had to take those out as well. I can place them back in to show it with the bonnet open. It's not the end of the world. They're all in one piece, but I've got to take it off. And this part fitted perfectly in part one. They now go nowhere near each other, so I'm going to have to glue it in with UV glue. There's about a 3mm gap at the side now, where as before I measured it, and it fitted in there absolutely perfect. So this has really gone pear-shaped, this build. It is really gutting, but it's what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's just tough. Everything's together. Several parts have fell off. I've kind of like lost the will to live. It's done, and this is as good as it's going to get. It still looks pretty. It's still a cool looking car. It's just a disappointing build at the end. It was going so well for an AMT kit right until we started looking around the glass and everything went downhill. It shows the lack of finesse of some of these kits where you need to assemble them and things just don't fit together. A real shame of what's been a good kit so far. That's been plagued with a few disasters with the decals and things like that, but you know, that's by the by. But yeah, it's a real shame. I've got some UMP detail spray here. I was going around giving it a good polish up to get it ready for some pictures. But it could have been better. You know, if it was out of 10 before the glass, I'd give it probably an 8 out of 10. After the glass, I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10. Really disappointing, but it's done. And it looks awesome. It's a beautiful colour. Absolutely amazing colour. It's just really disappointing that some of the fundamental parts don't quite fit properly. But I guess that's the risk you take with these type of kits. I know the risk with Revel. I know it can be worse with AMT. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I've got a good looking car that still looks like the car I wanted to build. Now, 2 things I've done on this. Sorry, just 3. I didn't put the red number plate on because the decal was shocking. I'm going to try and find a spare. I haven't painted the yellow lights at the front. I completely forgot. And I haven't painted inside the chrome of the front grille. You'll see it in a second. Because I saw a car that hadn't had that done and it looked great, so I left it like that in my car. See the front on the grille underneath between the headlights surrounds? That should be body colour. I saw it like this, loved it, so I left it. Everything else looks good. I got the stance pretty much right how I wanted it. It does kind of rock on one wheel a little bit, but I'll take that for what it is. But it was a good kit. I enjoy building this. This was primed in Tamiya white primer, Crazy Plum purple from Gravity, 2K from Gravity. I masked and painted that rear stripe. Alan made me some custom decals, which were perfect. We matte coated all the chrome. We used various LP and TS sprays everywhere else. And yeah, it came out well in the end. A little bit disappointing, but hey, they can't all be winners, can they? Okay then, so what do we think of that one? So it's come out well. It's a pretty car. It really is a pretty car. And as I said a couple of times through the video, it was going so well up until we had to put glass in. And that's where it just went downhill. And as I said, it shows the finesse or the lack of finesse of some of these kits. They are a bit more poorly made than some of the Tamiya kits and what have you because they're a lot cheaper. Some of them are quite old. This is a 90s kit, but you know, you get 90s Tamiya kits are still built up flawlessly. So I know with Revel, you know, a few problems. I knew with AMT I would as well, but it was disappointing because it went so well. The build was going so flawlessly up until the glass and then all the body warpage and trying to get it all together. The engine not fitting, just things like that. It kind of took the wind out my sails today, but we got it done. It's a great looking car, it really is. And I'm happy to get it finished. I am, that's for sure. No throwing the box over the shoulder this one, if you remember that. But yeah, it is an enjoyable build. A bit frustrating at the end, but definitely did enjoy doing it. And it's a beautiful colour as well. It really is an absolutely amazing colour. So there we are, another video build out of the way. What's next? Well, I've got the bike to go back to. I don't feel like doing the bike just yet. I feel like painting something. The thing I wanted to start needs some decals, so I can't do that. So I'm going to edit this video, get it up, have a look what else. We've got Gary's F15 build starting on the 1st of March, so I can't start that yet for 2 weeks. So I could do with something to tide me over till then. So I'm going to have a little think of what I've got. We've got the Mitsubishi Evo still to crack on, but as I say, I feel like painting a body. So I feel like painting something. So I'm going to have a think, and I'll let you all know. All right, so yes, I'll be back very soon with the new build, and we're back with part 3 of the Suzuki before you know it. We're onto the frame. We've flown through those first 2 parts, so a little bit of a break will do is good. Luke's progressing on his, I think, as well. We've got the carbon set now, which is great, and we can really progress with the build. So yes, I will announce my new build tonight or tomorrow. You'll see anyway. So there we are. Thanks for watching today. As always, got any questions or comments, pop them down below. Make sure to sub to the channel, click the bell notification, and give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment. I love reading all your comments. It's what spurs me through the builds. And of course, as usual, if you want to support the videos, there's a Patreon me link, a PayPal me link, and a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description down below, as well as links to everything, including the ISM Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com. We get a lot of products I use in my videos, my Paul ISM Scale Models modeling page, the Paul ISM Daily Live Show page, the Paul ISM Off Air Hangout group page, and the ISM group build page as well. Try to unify all the names, and it's kind of a problem to remember them all, but they are there. And of course, check out our daily live shows on my other channel, which is linked down below, and check out the Friday night and Wednesday night live streams that we do too. There we are. Currently trying to get Mike Mountain Scaly Models to 1,000 subs. So if you watch this far, make sure to sub to Mike, go over and give him a sub, and go over to Dudley's Scale Model Cars as well. Dudley give a lot of support to recently. I'm going from like 50 subs to nearly 300 now. So go over there and show a bit of support. Dudley live streams every day, weekday as well. Fair play to him. So go over there and show a bit of support as well. I will see you all very soon. Question for today: what build have you ever done that you finished? You were happy with the finish, but the build went a bit awry at the end. What was it, and what was the problem? There we are. Thank you everyone for watching. Take care. Bye bye.